everybody, and welcome to Midweek Motivation. The quote for this week: do one thing every day that scares you, by Eleanor Roosevelt. Tora, that's kind of an odd quote. Yeah, it is. Eleanor Roosevelt was not talking about, maybe going to a haunted house or skydiving or bungee jumping or climbing to the highest rung of the ladder and looking down. No. What Eleanor Roosevelt was talking about was stepping outside of your comfort zone one time a day. You would be surprised by how much stuff we let pass by because we're scared to do it. Tor, what are you talking about? Okay, 18 months ago. Yes, 18 months ago. It was April 2022. I was scared to death about working as a crew member because I wasn't sure how people were going to treat me, especially my coworkers. A lot of them I trained. A lot of the managers I had trained. And I was worried about how they were going to treat me. But guess what? I went in, I clocked in, I did my job. It scared me, but I did it. Further down in April, I decided I was going to change my world completely. I started my low carb and keto journey. It scared me. It really did. Because I was really afraid of, number one, failing. Number two, it having a negative impact on my body. Because I have PCOS. I have polycystic ovarian syndrome. I've talked about that before here on the channel. And I have insulin resistance that goes along with that. That's where your insulin runs high, and then because your blood sugar's running high and it gets used to running high. And when you start, lowering your blood sugar and lowering the things that keep your blood sugar up, your insulin starts coming down. Well, I was afraid that, what if my sugar starts crashing out? It scared me. But I did it anyway. 18 months ago, I weighed 390 pounds. 18 months from then to now, I weigh 225. I'm down 165 pounds. And let me tell you something. It still scares me. It still scares me. You might be going, Tora, you're so confident. Yeah. At times, I try to do things, at least something every day that scares me. Whether it's talking to somebody I don't know. Y'all might be going, Tora, you are a very personable person. What do you mean talking to people scares you? It does. It scares me. I have terrible stage fright. But working on that, yes, I've become more confident. I try new recipes and I worry and I'm kind of scared about how are they going to turn out. You never know until you try. In 2022, in August of 2022, I tried a new recipe. It was a total flop. But I tried it even though it scared me because I didn't know the ingredients. I didn't know how they were going to taste. I didn't know how everything was going to come together. But I tried it anyway. Now I know that we don't like that recipe. And I found some really good recipes that Josh and I enjoy. I've shared a lot of them on here. It still scares me to know that I'm pregnant. It still scares me to know that every day I get up, I go to work, I come home, cook dinner, and provide a meal for my husband. We've been married for 8 years and 2 months. And there are times when Josh comes home that I'm still a little unsure if he's going to enjoy the meals that I make. Because I try a new recipe on him. I step outside of that comfort zone. I step outside of my comfort zone and try new things, or at least one new thing a day. I try. There's some days it doesn't work, that I don't get it done. But to do one thing every day that scares you is good advice. Maybe it's picking up a really thick book and making the decision that you're going to read 10 pages a day. Maybe it's setting a challenge for yourself that you're going to exercise 3 times a week. Maybe exercise scares you. Maybe it's going back to school. Maybe it's taking a chance on hiring that new kid at work. Maybe it's talking to that grouchy person whom nobody seems to like. When I worked at a nursing home, it seems like forever ago. When I worked at a nursing home, I started in 2003, so it was 20 years ago. There was an older gentleman that was there. He didn't have any family. And my first few days of working there, I was warned that he was a very grouchy old man. That he didn't like anybody. And I had to give him a shower. And I was like, okay. Well, it scared me. Not because I was afraid of giving somebody a shower, but I was afraid that, he was going to yell at me or maybe hit me or something like that. I walked in there and I was like, Mr. So-and-so, I'm here to give you a shower today. Is that okay? And he was like, I guess. My dog's here. Go on. Go lay down. And eventually, I became his favorite aide. It came to the point where he had even told the administrator and the social services worker that was there at the nursing home that I was going to come to Thanksgiving with him. I was his family. Taking that step and doing that one thing that scared me to death opened up that man's heart. And he became one of my favorites, and I became his favorite, and he even had it put down in his medical chart that if anything happened to him while I wasn't there, I was to be notified. And of course, they had to, go through the channels and make sure that it was okay with his power of attorney. And they were like, well, is there any reason to suspect any kind of funny business? And they're like, no, he just really likes her for some reason. He just really likes her. And he ended up passing away about 6 years after I started at the nursing home. Well, no, probably more than that. About 9 years after I started at the nursing home. And I had the honor and privilege of singing at his funeral for him. Because I took that step. I did that one thing that scared me. I talked to the grouchy person. It may be something as simple as holding a door for somebody and talking to somebody. If you're an introvert, you understand, and I understand that, talking to people sometimes is really, really hard. And I get that. But you never know the opportunities that stand behind that door, that opening it up, letting a little bit of yourself out. it might end up being some of the best things in the world for you. Trying a new recipe, one that you have never heard of. Trying a new cheese. My mother-in-law loved cheese, but she only liked certain kinds. I never really got the opportunity to introduce her to a lot of cheeses, but like if we had a dinner, I'd make sure and be like, okay, well here's mild cheddar, here's pepper jack, and then slip something in like a, Gruyere, or, a different style of cheese. Munster was an exotic cheese. But, trying something new, trying something different, trying to do something that scares you. Like I said, it may be something as simple as getting that really big, thick book and only reading 10 pages a day. One little step at a time, and you'd be surprised where you go. Okay? So I'm going to say it again. Do something every day that scares you. By Eleanor Roosevelt. Think about this. Eleanor Roosevelt was the first lady, the president's wife, during the Great Depression. During the Great Depression. How much new stuff did she have to try? Every day. Times were changing so rapidly around her. And times were different back then. Women didn't necessarily have as much freedoms as they do today. Okay? So keep that in mind. Eleanor Roosevelt was a trailblazer. Okay? She was a trailblazer. During a time when there were lots of trails to be blazed. And during a time when things didn't seem the best. Maybe that's why this is the quote for this week. Do something every day that scares you. You all are beautiful or handsome just the way you are. Just the way you are. I care for you guys. I really do. And I enjoy these midweek motivations because not only are they a motivation for you guys, but they're a motivation for me. They are. And you're not alone when you're just unsure of doing things and you feel really comfortable and inside your little comfort zone. But when you step out of that comfort zone, how different your world is. I got out of my comfort zone because of my bestest friend. She had me try on an extra large shirt and it fit. And it fit. And here I was used to be wearing 5X t-shirts. Stepping out of my comfort zone. I was scared to death. Scared to death. You're not alone. You're not alone, okay, guys? Be kind to yourself and be kind to others. Because you never know who is stepping outside of their comfort zone for the first time. While you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. Okay, guys. One last thing. Love ya!